Chapter 1: A Silent Spring in Pripyat. The city of Pripyat slept. Under a sky dusted with the faint glow of distant stars, its avenues were empty. The rhythmic drone of the nearby power plant, usually a reassuring presence, was eerily absent. It was 1:23 am, April 26, 1986. In a few fleeting moments, this tranquil scene would be forever scarred from human memory. The name Chernobyl, synonymous with peaceful energy, would come to represent mankind's capacity for catastrophic error. The residents of Pripyat, mostly families of the power plant workers, were blissfully unaware of the impending disaster. Children slept soundly in their beds, dreaming of schoolyard games and weekend fishing trips. Their parents, many of whom had moved to this city of the future, rested after long shifts at the plant, confident in the Soviet narrative of technological prowess. The air was still, holding the promise of spring. The nearby Pripyat River, its surface like a mirror reflecting the starlight, flowed silently towards the Dnieper. On the outskirts of the city, beyond the manicured parks and apartment blocks, the vast Ukrainian steppe stretched towards the horizon, a silent and indifferent witness to the unfolding tragedy. It was a night like any other, or so it seemed, but deep within the concrete labyrinth of reactor number 4, a silent terror was about to be unleashed. That a monster of man's own creation was stirring, ready to spew its invisible fury upon an unsuspecting world. Chapter 2: The Calm Before the Storm. The Chernobyl nuclear power plant, a symbol of Soviet ambition and engineering might, stood as a beacon of progress on the banks of the Pripyat River. Its 4 massive reactors, each capable of generating immense power, hummed with the energy of 1,000 suns. Inside the control room of Reactor 4, a team of engineers prepared for a routine safety test. The test, designed to simulate a power outage, was intended to demonstrate the reactor's ability to cool itself even in emergency situations. It was a complex procedure, requiring careful coordination and a thorough understanding of the reactor's intricate systems. Unbeknownst to the operators, a fatal flaw lay hidden within the reactor's design. A combination of human error and unforgiving engineering would soon transform this routine test into an unparalleled catastrophe. Among the operators was Anatoly Dyatlov, the deputy chief engineer, a strict and demanding figure known for his unwavering belief in Soviet technology. His confidence, however, would soon be shattered as the events of that fateful night unfolded with terrifying speed. Chapter 3: The Dragon Awakens. At 1:23:04 am, the first in a series of fatal errors occurred. As part of the safety test, the operators began to reduce the reactor's power output. However, due to a design flaw in the reactor's control rods, the power output plummeted far more rapidly than anticipated. The reactor, starved of the coolant needed to keep its temperature stable, began to overheat. The core, a dense assembly of uranium fuel rods, started to melt, creating a volatile and highly radioactive brew. The operators, realizing the gravity of the situation, desperately tried to regain control, but it was too late. The reactor, like a dragon awakened from its slumber, roared to life. A sudden surge of power, far beyond the reactor's design limits, ripped through its core. A blinding flash of light illuminated the night sky, followed by a deafening explosion that shook the very foundations of the power plant. The concrete and steel containment structure, designed to withstand internal pressure, offered little resistance to the immense force of the explosion. The reactor's roof was blown skyward, spewing tons of radioactive debris into the atmosphere. The dragon had been unleashed. Chapter 4: Braving the Invisible Fire. The explosion at Reactor 4 was just the beginning. The fire, invisible to the naked eye, radiated deadly levels of radiation into the surrounding environment. Unaware of the invisible danger they faced, firefighters from Pripyat and the surrounding region rushed to the scene. These brave men and women, ill-equipped and completely unprepared for the horrors that awaited them, charged into the heart of the inferno. They fought the blaze with unwavering courage, their bodies bombarded by lethal doses of radiation with every passing minute. Many would succumb to radiation sickness in the days and weeks that followed, their sacrifice a testament to the indomitable spirit of those who face unimaginable peril to protect others. Their efforts, however, would prove to be a Pyrrhic victory. The fire raged on, spewing radioactive fallout into the atmosphere, carried by the wind to spread its invisible poison across vast swaths of the Soviet Union and beyond. Chapter 5: The City Vanishes. The morning after the explosion, life in Pripyat continued as if nothing had happened. Children went to school, their parents went to work, and the rhythms of daily life played out against the backdrop of the smoldering reactor, a silent and ominous presence on the horizon. It was not until 36 hours after the explosion that the Soviet authorities finally ordered the evacuation of Pripyat, the residents, told to pack only what they could carry and that they would return in 3 days, boarded buses and left their homes, unaware that they would never return. Within hours, the city that was once home to 50,000 souls became a ghost town. Apartments stood silent, their doors left ajar, meals lay half-eaten on tables and toys lay abandoned in playgrounds, frozen in time as if waiting for their owners to return. The evacuation of Pripyat was a desperate attempt to limit the exposure of its citizens to the invisible killer that lingered in the air. However, for many, it was already too late. The seeds of radiation sickness had been sown and the true extent of the disaster was only beginning to reveal itself. Chapter 6 Echoes in the Wind. The Soviet Union, initially reluctant to acknowledge the scale of the disaster, tried to contain the news of the explosion. However, the invisible fallout from Chernobyl paid no heed to borders or political ideologies. Within days, elevated levels of radiation were detected in Sweden, hundreds of miles away. The world watched in horror as the true extent of the disaster became impossible to ignore. The Soviet narrative of technological superiority crumbled, replaced by accusations of secrecy and incompetence. The world held its breath as scientists and experts struggled to comprehend the magnitude of the catastrophe. The term Chernobyl became synonymous with nuclear disaster, a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of human error and technological hubris. The disaster at Chernobyl was a global wake-up call, forcing the world to confront the terrifying power of the atom and the potential for human error to unleash unimaginable devastation. Chapter 7 A Legacy Forged in Lead. In the aftermath of the explosion, an army of liquidators, firefighters, soldiers, miners, and engineers were sent into the heart of the disaster zone. Their mission, to contain the raging inferno, entomb the shattered reactor, and clean up the radioactive debris. These brave souls, many of whom volunteered for this perilous task, worked tirelessly in the face of extreme radiation levels, their courage and sacrifice preventing an even greater catastrophe. They labored day and night, their efforts a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable adversity. Their work, however, came at a terrible cost. Thousands of liquidators received high doses of radiation, leading to a range of health problems, including cancer, radiation sickness, and premature death. Their sacrifice, often overlooked in the grand narrative of the disaster, stands as a testament to the human cost of nuclear catastrophe. The sarcophagus, a hastily constructed concrete and steel structure, was erected over the remains of Reactor 4, a temporary solution to a problem that would take generations to fully address. Chapter 8 The Zone Where Life Endures. In the aftermath of the disaster, a 30-kilometer exclusion zone was established around the Chernobyl power plant. This desolate landscape, once home to bustling villages and fertile farmland, became a forbidden zone, a stark reminder of the enduring legacy of nuclear disaster. Yet, even in this irradiated wasteland, life endures. Plants and animals, though exposed to elevated levels of radiation, have adapted to their altered environment. Wolves, boar, deer, and even endangered Przewalski's horses roam the exclusion zone, their presence a testament to nature's resilience. The Chernobyl exclusion zone, a haunting reminder of human folly, has become an unlikely wildlife sanctuary, a living laboratory where scientists study the long-term effects of radiation on the environment. Chapter 9 Chernobyl's Long Shadow. The Chernobyl disaster cast a long shadow, not just over the landscape of Ukraine, but over the world. The disaster forced a reassessment of nuclear power, leading to increased safety regulations and a decline in the construction of new nuclear plants. The disaster also exposed the shortcomings of the Soviet system, its culture of secrecy and its disregard for human life. The Chernobyl disaster, along with other factors, contributed to the eventual collapse of the Soviet Union. The legacy of Chernobyl continues to this day. The exclusion zone remains largely uninhabited, a stark reminder of the enduring legacy of nuclear disaster. The health effects of the disaster continue to be felt, with thousands of people suffering from radiation-related illnesses. Chernobyl serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder of the devastating consequences of human error and the importance of responsible stewardship of technology. It is a story that continues to resonate today, urging us to learn from the mistakes of the past and to strive for a safer and more sustainable future. If you liked the video, please like, comment, share and subscribe the channel and hit the bell button.